Welcome to the show Meeting Interesting People. Today my guest, Olga Toloshnaya, and she will tell us why we are meeting today. We had an interview before in Russian, so now we're trying to give more information to our friends who doesn't know Russian language yet. So, and I asked Olga to talk about first about the seminar in Europe. That's where you're right now, right?
Yes, I'm in Croatia now, in Dubrovnik.
Well, please tell us about the seminar, then about your mission to spread the knowledge of Grigorii Grabovoi, and then how you get involved after that. Please.
Okay, I will just quickly introduce myself. I'm Olga Doloshna, and I'm the teacher of the Education Center of Grigorii Grabovoi, which is currently in Serbia. And I'm here now in Dubrovnik because there is a session of seminars on the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi. The seminars are very interesting. We conduct them annually, each year. They conducted by several teachers, these seminars, and we are going to repeat them in November. And they're conducted in many countries, these seminars, and can also be conducted in the USA if people desire to wish these wonderful teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi. For example, first we conduct introductory course on the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi to help people to learn what kind of teachings it is, what it is based on. The second very interesting seminar was several days ago, Numbers for Successful Business. It is a very good seminar which could help people to achieve success either in business or at their working place or anywhere in life. The second seminar, the third seminar is the irrational methods of prevention on the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi. Then numbers for psychological normalization, and two very interesting seminars, the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi about love and the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi about the soul. All the seminars are taught by different teachers. I am one of them. So
And Grigorii Grabovoi is there. He's participating at the seminars also.
now Grigorii Grabovoi currently is in Serbia, and he works now in Serbia, and he organized his education center in Serbia. But these seminars are organized as a retreat for people who want to combine their rest and studies of the new teachings. And Grigorii Grabovoi is very busy now with carrying out his research work, which is very new for humanity and which will be very soon available for all people.
How many countries participate at the seminar? How many people
Oh,
from what countries?
we have a lot of people from all over the world. We have people from Singapore, Hong Kong, Europe. We have from the United Kingdom. We have people from participants from Canada. We have people from Italy, from Greece, from Norway. So maybe I missed something, but a lot of people, and it is very popular. It becomes not just as a number of seminars, but it is becoming a kind of a conference, annual conference, where people often travel annually and meet one another, exchange the experience on the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi, because these teachings is not only theory, but it is practice as well. It is arranged so that people, as soon as they start studying, immediately are able to practice and achieve good results in their life. This is actually the spiritual teachings, but it differs a bit from other teachings.
For how long the seminar? For a week or?
For example, we have introductory course for 3 days, but it can be conducted in any country during 3 days. For example, second part of Friday evening or Friday, then Saturday and Sunday, the same number of hours. And this is a very important seminar which gives information of how the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi works, how people can achieve the results. And actually, what is important that these teachings is based on pure science. It is completely scientific knowledge. It is very new, and as soon as people get understanding how it works, they study a bit, even at the introductory course for 3 days, and after it achieve great results. They have great improvements in terms of their health, in terms of their life events.
So tell us about now about Grigory Grabovoi himself and his teaching and knowledge.
Grigory Grabovoi actually is a famous Russian scientist. He is a very gifted person, and he is an extraordinary personality. He has abilities of clairvoyance. And what is peculiar about these abilities, that these abilities were tested many times by very competent commissions, and his forecasts were confirmed 100%. That his focus, that he gave 100% focus. First of all, he became famous already as a student of the Tashkent State University, that is southern part of the USSR. Now it is a separate country, Uzbekistan. He graduated from it in 1986, and already as a student, he became very well known because he was able to solve different tasks as student, given the answer and advice for that task which he did not know. And of course, as a gifted, talented student, he was attracted to participate in different students' research and was invited, was sent to a very important position to work after graduation from the Tashkent University to the Ministry of General Engineering of the USSR, to a position of engineer mathematicians. And already at that period, he gave consultations to very high rank scientists, for example, working in the area of outer space research. And thus he became very well known and was offered to write a scientific work and defend his doctor's thesis. He defended his several doctor's theses, and they are very important. I will try just in several words to explain what they mean. Actually, all people know about this quality of clairvoyance. Some people have it open, as they say, open, and some have it in the kind of intuition. And many people are attracted by spiritual knowledge because they know that there is something beyond what we all study at the universities or study at school. Many people notice that if, for example, they have good anticipation of the future and have good prospects, ideas of the future, it will go well. But if they fear something, this fear can result in getting what they were fearing of. And Grigory Grabovoi actually discovered the mechanism which works in this case. And his discovery refers exactly to these mechanisms which show how human consciousness works and how the consciousness builds the events. For example, I will mention just several of his scientific works, which describe this mechanism. First of all his practical results related to his forecasts are included in the very interesting book, Practice of Control, The Way of Salvation, 3 volumes. And these books include all protocols of confirmation of his forecasts made, confirmed by very competent people who, for example, protocoled his forecast, and after the event was completed, checked that it was 100% true. Therefore, this is maybe not maybe really the only person in the world who can make 100% true forecasts.
I think those books translated into English also.
Unfortunately, there are only parts of the books translated into English, which are given as appendices of one of his very famous book, Resurrection of People and Eternal Life from Now On Is Our Reality. Some parts of these books, excerpts, are included there. And these books are translated into German, but not completely into English. But the material is very valuable. Information is very interesting for all who is interested in spiritual knowledge and how it works. And so what is important, Grigory Grabovoi after doing this great practice, salvation, saving of people, it includes also saving airplanes, healing from cancer and AIDS of 4 stages, so prevention of accident at a nuclear power plant. So explained how human can do the same. He described the mechanism which is available in any person, and how any person can develop this mechanism to do the same what Grigorii Grabovoi is able to do. And by the way, many of his disciples already are able to do many miraculous, which we think miraculous things. But actually, this is a real science. And there are three more volumes which include the results of his disciples. And these results also show that his disciples were able to cure other people from, or themselves, from the AIDS, or from the very serious disease, cancer, and recover organs.
So we know that he has some seminars he's conducting in Russian, but the translator participating also. So it's like synchronized translation.
Yes, actually, Grigorii Grabovoi delivers a lot of seminars online, and I translate all his seminars as a simultaneous translator.
So and they have on YouTube a copy of the seminars and recordings.
Yes, some of his seminars may be found on YouTube. You agree with you?
Okay, tell us about how you get involved with this teaching and his knowledge.
Actually, I have been studying the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi starting from the early 2000s. And why it happened so? This was the period of crash of the USSR, of disintegration of one country into small states, and there was a severe crisis in all these countries. And actually, what we achieved before came to nothing. For example, inflation actually erased all our savings, erased all our salaries. We were receiving though I had, but by that time, a very good education and PhD degree, as well as my husband, but we were earning so little that had to look for the second or the third job to have enough to support our family. And in this situation, we had nothing else to do but to look for something how to improve our life. And many people started to study spiritual teachings, which was not accessible for us when we lived in the USSR during the Soviet era. So I studied a lot of books, for example, of Louisa Hay and other similar books. And in some, of course, the books were already translated into Russian, though I can read English as well. And in some magazine related to such spiritual teachings, I found an article about Grigorii Grabovoi. And I felt that I want to study his knowledge. So I bought more of his books, bought all the books actually which were available by that time. And among them, this was Practice of Control, the Way of Salvation. And the next book is Daily Concentration Exercises. And Daily Concentration Exercises is the book of training exercises which help a person to develop his consciousness and simultaneously to work on the improvement of events. And actually, the life was not so good at the time. We may say with bad, I don't like this word, that I started doing them immediately. I just believed and started doing them immediately. And of course, the main goal of concentration was improvement of my life, improvement of my life events. By the way, at that time, I had some small problem with my health. I had arthritis, a pain in my elbow, due to which it was I had a difficulty to move my hand. However, I didn't even think at that time about arthritis and that I want to get rid of it, because many people live with the arthritis, but they cannot live without money. So I controlled to improve my life events. And within a year, my life events and the events of my family really improved. I received a very good position in an American company, which came to that place where I lived as an investor. And I made a very good career there. The same happened with all members of my family. And by the way, all the time I was doing concentration exercises. They are very easy, and we study them at the introductory course, which we teach now. And the pain in the elbow, which I had in the beginning, it disappeared as if by itself. I did not do anything specially for this. But this means that when we work on harmonization of our events, studying the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi, everything is harmonized.
Well,
The health.
we need to tell our viewers that he has some pages on Facebook, and the daily exercise the volunteers publishing every day, and it's someone decided to start, so they just can open Facebook and find the Grigorii Grabovoi pages. It's like educational center, correct?
Correct. Yes, and I also have my own page on the Facebook. It is called Grigorii Grabovoi Education Center Forum. This is my own page, just to discuss with people if they have some questions in an informal way about what we are doing at the education center and about the teachings of Grigorii Grabovoi. And by the way, many people, after discussions, after questions, after studying information on this page, come to our seminars and achieve very good results in terms of improvement of their events and in terms of improvement of their health.
Yeah, I know you're traveling a lot. So you were, before you came to Dubrovnik, you were given some seminars conducting in Latin America, correct?
Yes, I traveled to Latin America, to Colombia, to Mexico, and before I also traveled in Singapore. The teachings becomes more and more popular, and many people all over the world study the teachings and receive very, very good results.
I think it's popular in Italy because I heard that the books by Grigorii Grabovoi were translated into Italian also.
Yes, there are a lot of books translated into Italian, and it is really very popular. There are a lot of seminars like this, which are taking place in Dubrovnik, are conducted in Italy. The same as in Switzerland, Germany, France. So,
well, let's hope that someday it will be here in United States, maybe even in Boston.
Yes, yes. It would be nice if, and I'm sure that people in the United States will love these teachings because many of them study Louis the Hay, Castaneda, and so on, some teachings which are related to spiritual and how to organize the events of the life spiritually, on the spiritual basis. And these teachings actually includes all information which are available in those teachings, but it is put on the scientific basis. Therefore, since the science is the development of science is maybe the first in the world in the United States, I think that people in the United States should enjoy and like these teachings.
Yeah, Grigorii Grabovoi not a stranger for the United States because he's the academician of the New York Academy of Science.
Yes, he is the academician of the New York Academy of Science. Exactly. Thank you, Yelena, for this information.
So, yeah, so what else we can add for the information if people will be interested? So they can connect through the Facebook. They will be seeing some information about Grigorii Grabovoi. We'll try to put as additional part some of his webinars he conducted in Russian, but with translation, yours or I don't know, maybe someone else. So what else would you add in our interview?
Yes, I would like to add that in the internet they can find an official site, Education Center of Grigorii Grabovoi. If they just type in the browser Education Center of Grigorii Grabovoi, and just several sentences I would like to add about his inventions. Actually, Grigorii Grabovoi, based on his patents, inventions which are patented, now he produces the device which people can use to intensify their concentrations. We all know that, for example, to have good events, we carry out some affirmations. This is, we concentrate on some good information, or we concentrate on just some good events which we have in our mind, and these events will happen. And actually, what are the concentrations of Grigorii Grabovoi based on? And moreover, what Grigorii Grabovoi discovered is that when person thinks about some events, there is an irradiation coming from his brain, and he managed to register this irradiation by his equipment, and moreover intensify it. And therefore, when we think using and concentration on the device that he produces now, our thoughts are intensified, and therefore this way our events and health is improved. I used to concentrate. I have the contract on this device, I have personal connection, and I concentrate now on this device for my events and for my health. And also I can use it to concentrate for the health of my loved ones, my family, my friends.
Well, thank you so much, Olga, and I hope that people will find that information is very useful, and hopefully we'll see you here in Boston. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lena, for wonderful questions.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello. The theme of the webinar is my teachings about God, the method of control of equipment through the interaction of microprocessors to ensure eternal life. In this topic, I consider such projection of consciousness on microprocessors, where the soul and spirit are certain levels and certain channels for the access of consciousness into the microprocesses of the material physical plane. And just as God does when He carries out control of the consequential type, that is, by creating an information object, He immediately lays the entire history of the future development of this information object. Here too, the same principle will be used in this method, where the interaction with microprocessors makes it possible to obtain a certain consequential area that practically enables you to further control precisely some technical system. Thus, in order to implement this method, it is necessary to arrange the action of the soul and spirit in the space of information so that these actions were almost like the system of access of consciousness to microprocessors. And this arrangement in the action should be such that the microprocessors themselves must be near, because the further action of consciousness will be precisely the interaction of some neighboring areas at the micro level. For this, at the geometric level, you can imagine the sign of infinity, which is located horizontally on a plane. And at the same time, for example, on the right side of this sign, it is possible to direct the action of the soul, and on the left side, you can direct the action of the spirit. And further, at the point of intersection, where the second part of the sign of infinity begins, at the intersection point, you can visualize number 8 perpendicular to this plane, which in shape also corresponds to the sign of infinity. And then, through this number you can go over directly to control through consciousness. Thus, the action of consciousness is an element of control that contains the action of the soul and the action of the spirit, because within the area of space, which is in the sign of infinity, some action is taking place as well. And it turns out that, for example, one half of the sign and the second one is also a certain level of interaction from the point of view of consciousness. And here it is possible to move on to a quite simple logical level of creating the next reality of action to the same one that God applied, the creator of the world, where consciousness, as if necessarily, is reproducing the next action. And just here is the element precisely of ensuring the eternity of life that is being generated by this element of consciousness, which necessarily, with the reproduction of consciousness, implies the presence of the physical body. And for example, in the applied aspect, when setting the device